Hey everybody, haven't said hi in a while. Been very busy with the new job, so been dying to get down here and do something. So tonight I'm going to do a flea market finds video. I actually haven't been doing any buying in quite some time. Um, I actually went to the flea market, I think only once or twice since the last flea market finds video. I also picked up. I went to the fall Quabog Valley Engineer Association's tractor show and swap meet. I went to that and picked up a few items there. We're going to cover tonight. Um, I should start by saying that today is November 13th, I believe, 2017. So that fall show was a couple of months back. I just haven't had a chance to do anything video wise. And then if we have time, I'll add in a few machinist items that I acquired over this past weekend, but they were strictly trades. As luck would have it, somebody advertised on my local Craigslist that they were looking for older craftsman woodworking equipment and just older craftsman equipment. They really had a desire for a specific era of equipment. So I ended up trading off a small craftsman table saw that my regular viewers may remember having seen this. There is a spider running around on my camera tripod. Okay. Oh yeah. So, anyways, I had this table saw that I picked up at the flea market quite a while back, and I didn't need another table saw, but it had a cast iron top with a cast iron fence, and it was a nice little neat sized table saw, and it was on a really rickety wooden table. It was junk that we ended up getting rid of. We being me and my son tore that thing apart. Getting off subject again. Anyways, it was so cheap I couldn't resist buying it, so I picked that up. That had been sitting down here and I hadn't done anything with it. Then I saw this ad and I noticed the guy was looking to just do trades. He wasn't looking to buy. So he had this whole long list of stuff that he had to trade. And then I saw that there were a few machinist items, and a couple of them I was like, I've already got them or whatever. But then I thought about it. I said, I could kill two birds with one stone here. I could get myself some machinist items that even if I can't use, I could probably sell on eBay. And since they're smaller packages and shippable, they're more marketable to me. And if I don't get around to listing them, which often happens, at least they don't take up a whole lot of room. I can put them in the drawer in one of my Kennedy toolboxes and they can just be stored for now. As opposed to what I ended up trading away, which was the table saw and a bench grinder that I had picked up at an estate down in Rhode Island a while back when I bought that. When I bought my second Delta bandsaw out of that estate, I picked up a sweet little bench grinder. That it was a really old one, and I think I got it for like $20. And I forgot what I paid for the saw, but I probably didn't pay more than $20 for the table saw. So it was like $40 worth of stuff. So I'll show you what I got for that. And all right, so without further ado, let's dive right in. I'm going to start with a bag of stuff I picked up at, I believe, the flea market and totally forgot about and put it off to the side. And so anyway, let's get that out here. This is a bag of non-machinist really related items that I just picked up and couldn't resist. And a couple of them I grabbed them and I thought, oh wow, these might really be of some value, and then found out later that they're not. Case in point, I picked up these two Boy Scout, these old Boy Scout manuals. This one's called Boy Scout Patrol by Ralph Victor. It's in pretty rough shape. this is copyright 1911. So I thought that was kind of neat. And I know Boy Scout memorabilia is collectible. So I thought, well, that might be a really good item for resale on eBay. But I could have easily have checked ahead of time and saved myself the trouble. It turns out there's just a ton of these around. So because of the condition it's in and everything, it's luckily I didn't give much for it. But it's certainly not going to be anywhere near as valuable. It's not nowhere near as valuable as I thought it might be. This one here, this one's got the original. Somebody must have had this in like a co-op shop or something for sale at some point. I bought this off of the guy at the flea market who cleans out estates, and he had cleaned out the estate of somebody who did antiquing. So this stuff has been in storage for quite a while. This one's the Handbook for Boys, Boy Scouts of America. Again, this is in really rough shape. This is the first edition. So these are copyrights all the way up to 1938. Copyright 1911 all the way up to 1938. So that's been in print a long time, and it's no wonder why there's so many of these available. This one actually says right in the front, 30-second printing, 200,000 copies. See following page for record of previous editions. So yeah, ton of these around. Well, I'm afraid we're in that time of year where here in New England the temperatures are getting pretty low, so the boiler is firing off in the background, and rather than wait for it to finish its burn cycle, I figure I'll just stand behind the camera so the audio is a little better. So this item I found also amongst one of the boxes from an estate that he had cleaned out. I wish I had seen what else was available in this estate originally, because I got a feeling this guy might have had some pretty neat stuff, because we've got, this is a Browning number 35 single control super heterodyne receiver. So this is 10 cents for this thing. And it's funny, this is the Toby Dutchman Corporation of Canton, Massachusetts. So this appears to be a manual for a Browning number 35 shortwave receiver. So ironically, this little brochure here might actually be more valuable than those two old Boy Scout manuals, because somebody who might have one of these in their collection, one of these radios in their collection, might actually not have the original manual. So I grabbed that. Whenever I see old shortwave or even CB or ham radio manuals like this and I can buy them for next to nothing, I tend to pick them up. And then this is a pair of headphones, but they're pretty early. These feel like they're Bakelite, and they've got this cloth covered cord, and look at the terminations on these things on the end. They're just little pins that you would stick in a couple of holes for jacks. And then these are made by, these say Trim, T-R-I-M-M, Dependable, Trim Incorporated, Libertyville, Illinois, USA. And I don't know if there was a model number on here or not. I think I already looked these up, and I think these were actually World War II era headsets. And again, kind of neat old headset. And I think the problem again is that I think probably at the end of the war there was just so many of these in surplus that they're just not that uncommon. So they're not a high dollar value item, but I didn't pay much for them. Usually when I bundle all this stuff together, I usually end up paying, like, I probably with the Boy Scout manuals and all this stuff that you see here, I probably paid 15 or 20 bucks for the whole lot, if that. Then I thought this was cool. This is a key for Morse code. I believe this is a practice key. I don't know whether or not, maybe not a practice key. I guess this might have been actual for use. So this isn't an antique like these. This is a more modern looking anyways, but this appears to be solid brass, the bottom half. And then there's an adjustment here. Somehow, I'm not sure how this works. But I just thought that was kind of neat. And that might still be of use to somebody. Brass seems like it's in pretty good shape. I don't see a manufacturer's name anywhere on this thing. Maybe if I unscrewed it from the board and tipped it over, there might be something on the underside to indicate who made this. And then there was this little pack of Nicholson Swiss pattern files that's incomplete, but the ones that are in there look pretty darn good. So that was, threw that in the pile, probably paid $1 for that, you know, included again. All right, so that's that for that little anti-Q stuff. So I almost didn't even go to the fall QVEA show because we were actually camping that weekend. But it turns out we were camping down in Connecticut, so we were only about a 25-minute drive. So we were actually closer to the show than I am when I'm at home. From here at my house to go to the show, it's just over an hour drive. So I figured, well, all right. So I got up early Saturday morning and took one of the boys with me, and we headed out and checked out the show. I ran into the guy who I bought all of those gas cylinders from. For those of you who have been watching the Tanks for Nothing videos, I'll be working on the third and final installment of that soon. But anyways, I ran into him at the show because he always brings a load of stuff out, and I went through his stuff. And I didn't really find much of interest. I ended up finally picking out, you know, I hit them first thing in the morning and the prices were higher, and then on our way out I went back and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take 4 boxes of this shim stock that he had if he goes $5 a box, and he agreed to that. So what this is this is brass shim stock, and I made sure that the ones I picked were pretty much what appeared to be full rolls. This one's open. Give you a look at what this looks like. That's what the stuff looks like. So this would have come in really handy when I was making my little shims, when I was shimming my bearings on my lathe. So those of you who haven't seen that series on the Vernon lathe, when I was doing the headstock bearings, I ended up playing around with different size shims and all kinds of stuff to get the bearing clearance where I think is correct. So I couldn't decide what sizes to get. This one's well worth $5 here. Because this one's 15 thousandths gauge, 100 inches long, 6 inches wide, and I think it's full. So it's pretty heavy. I'm not familiar with this brand. It says Precision brand. I think it's pretty old stuff by the looks of it. Precision Brand Products is a subsidiary of Precision Steel Warehouse Incorporated, Downers Grove, Illinois. But it doesn't necessarily say that this is a US made product. So I had a hard time deciding what sizes to get, so I ended up grabbing 6 thousandths, 9 thousandths, 3 thousandths, and 15 thousandths. And I was just being really frugal. If I, you know, if I wasn't so concerned about being cost conscious, I probably would have grabbed 4 more boxes, but then I'd be into this for $40. And the thing is, this is the kind of thing that the amount of shim stock that's in these boxes, it'll last me a lifetime. It's the kind of thing, though, it's, you know, you want to have it for that time when you do actually need it, but the rest of the time it's just surplus. Speaking of surplus, you had several of these kind of hardware box assortments there. And I went through and I picked out a few, and I said, I'll take this many for $5 a box. And he said no initially, but then when I went back at the end, getting ready to leave, he took my $5 a box. So I grabbed this box right here is commercial taper pins. So these are Sharon's. Taper is 1/4 inch per foot. Sharon Bolt and Screw Company Incorporated of Ashland, Massachusetts. That's kind of neat. So I already checked. These are almost all full. It doesn't seem like much of these were used at all. But if I go to the hardware store to buy one of these little taper pins, I'm going to pay more than the 25, 29, or 35 cents you see, or 37 cents a piece that you see on here at today's prices. And now I got this whole box of them. So, you know, that was, to me, it was worth it. And then this one is cotter pins, okay? But what's neat about this is this whole top section here is all brass cotter pins. And I actually, I don't even remember any applications where I've seen brass cotter pins. Probably maybe on like fuel line applications or something like that. I don't know, someplace where you don't want sparks. Not quite sure why. Somebody I'm sure is going to enlighten me to that. But I figure there's plenty of value there for $5. And that, believe it or not, is all I ended up buying from him. I usually buy more stuff from him, but again, like I said, I was trying to be good. I've been good lately, and when I mean good, I mean not blowing money on a bunch of stuff that I don't have an immediate use for. Like I said, this is back in, was it September? I think that I went to the show and bought this stuff. Now let me show you the two other lonely items that I bought at the show that I actually kind of like. So sometimes when I go to these shows, I'll run into somebody who's got a table with stuff out on it, and they don't have prices on anything, and you quickly find out that it might be a situation where they're just there because they were cleaning out their garage or their house or their workshop or whatever, and said, I gotta get rid of this stuff. You know what I'll do is I'll just pay for a table out there at the flea market and dump the stuff. And what's great about that is that their main objective is to just get rid of the stuff, but they don't want to throw it away. So what you end up with is oftentimes they don't price anything because they have no idea what to ask for it. So this was sitting on the table just like this, and I was like, what the heck are these? Oh, a pack of screwdrivers. Who cares, right? Then I looked at them real close, and I was like, oh wait, no, look, they're Allen head. There's a little set of them. I took a little bit closer look, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I recognize that name. These are Bondus drivers, which I don't know if you're familiar with those, but these are actually pretty nice quality, and they look like they've got not a heck of a lot of use on them. Either that or somebody cleaned them up. It could be that somebody cleaned them, I don't know. Because it's funny, on the handles here where it's written Bondus, they're worn. These are metric. This one's an 8mm. Okay. I forgot where these are made. Yeah, so it's Bondus. It's spelled Bondhus, and these are made in the USA. So these are actually pretty decent quality. This one is, I think it might be a little bent. Not positive. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These really little ones. 6, 7. I don't know if this one's even a Bondus. This one looks like it melted. You get 8. So I got this set of Bondus drivers for $3. So that was a really good deal, I thought. Even though they look like maybe they have been around the block, I don't know. But hey, you know what? They're gonna do me just fine. So the point is, you know, I looked at this guy's stuff that he had out there, and I didn't pay much mind. I didn't see anything that caught my eye that got me excited at all. But I ended up buying these, and then when I got such a good deal on these, it kind of made me think, you know what, I'm going to take a second harder look at some of the stuff he's got here. And that's when I spotted this thing. So, nice case. It was on the table just like this, closed up. I open it up. I'm like, oh, what do we got here? Okay. Got a nice little something here. RPM tachometer. Okay. And it's got the it's got this bulletin sheet. It's got this little thing here. So this is by a company called Power Instruments Incorporated of Skokie, Illinois. Okay. You know, when I was in a barbershop quartet in Skokie, Illinois, you know, when I was picking coffee beans in Guatemala, anyways, Kaiser Soze. Dual function digital tachometer. That's obviously not this. I don't know why this is in here even. This is not. Alright, never mind that. Anywho, so then I spotted this. I saw that's kind of neat. And then the guy gave me the whole story on it. He explained to me that that he had used this years ago, and that there's a battery inside here that's like some kind of crazy, funky battery from hell, some kind of a weird size cell, and that the battery had gone bad, and he had contacted the company, and he said the guy at that he spoke to at the company had said that what you can do is you can cut off the connector for the battery in there, and you can wire in a 9-volt transistor battery clip, and that will actually work perfectly fine. Thought there was one in here somewhere. So I guess, okay, Amatec, Paul A. Poropat, sales coordinator. So I guess this company is now this company, because he talked to this gentleman here, I guess, and he's the one who gave him the skinny on that you can modify this so that you can make this work off of 9-volt batteries. And what this is an I think this is called an optical tachometer. And the way this works is you've got this sensor here that shoots a light out, okay, and the light gets reflected off of these little reflective stickers, and bounces back in. And he even said, this is an interesting, I thought this was also an interesting little tidbit. He even said that the way you calibrate this is you actually point the sensor at a fluorescent light, and fluorescent lights are actually flickering at the rate of the line frequency. So here in the US, fluorescent lights are actually flashing or flickering 60 times per second, but the human eye is unable to perceive that flicker. So what you do is you hold the sensor up to a fluorescent light, and then you adjust this calibration screw so that it's measuring 60 times per second. Once you do that, the unit's then calibrated, and you theoretically could then take a sticker, put it on a revolving wheel or gear or whatever, pulley, and hold the sensor up to it and actually measure the RPMs. I was thinking, boy, this would have been really handy for me when I was trying to set the idle on the Oliver backhoe, the old Oliver 770 there. I remember that I was having a heck of a time trying to get that idle set, and just because of the proximity of the way there's not much room between the fan and the radiator and all the other dangerous things in there, I didn't want to stick my hand in there too far. But it would have been nice to have this and just put a sticker on the one of the pulleys, like on the crankshaft, I mean. So this is something that is going to get put off to the side for now, but at some point I'll probably do a little exploration inside here and see whether or not what I was told is true, that I can just modify this to use 9-volt batteries. You know, I've got mechanical tachometers, but a mechanical tachometer, obviously you have to get in close proximity and you have to be able to touch the wheel on the tachometer, or the shaft of the tachometer has to be inserted into something. So a non-contact tachometer like this is definitely something I wouldn't mind having in my arsenal. And these are the 4 items I just traded for. Just traded that old bench grinder and the table saw for yesterday, or was it Saturday? I forget. But this stuff the guy gets probably for next to nothing or free from his work, because he admitted that anytime at work, because of the high precision that they're doing, if there's something wrong with something, they basically just ditch it and buy a new replacement one. So these are 4 Mitutoyo items, and each one of them has a little something amiss with it, I believe. But like I said, I think I was into only like about $40 on those 2 items, if that. I can't honestly remember what the heck I paid for that table saw. Pretty sure the grinder I paid $20 for, and then I think that table saw, I can't remember if I paid 10 or 15 or $20 for it. I know I didn't pay more than 20 for it. So worst case scenario, I traded $40 worth of stuff that I had that was taking up room here that I didn't need for these 4 items. So figured $10 a piece for these items. So the first item is a Mitutoyo 8 to 9 inch micrometer, and it's got the carbide anvil on it. It actually looks like it's a pretty decent shape. The only thing I could find wrong with it really is that the little knob for the click adjustment here is missing. And unlike some of my other Mitutoyos, this one actually had a plastic, I believe it had a plastic cover on it. And I'll show you the other micrometer that's got one of those on it. So that's why I think that this looks the way it does. It's kind of messed up. But there's just a screw on the end there, so I don't know whether or not you can just get a new plastic piece that goes over there or what. But I probably could get the parts to fix this one. I don't even know if I have an 8 to 9. I know I have an 8 to 9 inch in a set of micrometers, but so for the time being, I'm going to hold on to this micrometer. So that's, you know, $10. Then this is a little bit nicer. This is a Mitutoyo 139-202. It says IMJ-40-inch S. So what this is this is a an inside micrometer set. So here's the micrometer, right? Okay, and then we've got additional rods. So I don't know if this is missing anything, but so you can see there's a really long rod there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 9 rods in this case, and then we got another space here, another space here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is missing any. Sometimes it's just the way it is. This has got that Mitutoyo foam cancer that you tend to see on these. Funny, this foam is okay. It's the foam underneath it that's rotting away. So somehow there's a way that, all right, I feel like such the new, here you go, see, look at the foam, see how it's all stuck to this? All right. At the risk of sounding like a moron, I do not know. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. This point unscrews right here. There we go. Okay, so you unscrew that point right there, and then you put on your corresponding extension rod, and there we go. And so on and so on and so on, all the way up to this big huge one here. So I have some inside micrometer, internal micrometer sets similar to this, but I do not believe I have one that can go up to 40 inches, which is what supposedly this can do. So I bet you this one, yeah, see this end unscrews also. Okay, so that makes sense, because this obviously isn't a 40-inch rod. But apparently, if I take this rod and the second longest rod and I put them on this thing, overall that's supposed to be able to be a 40-inch. So that's a pretty neat set. I haven't even looked this up yet, but even though it's not Starrett and it's Mitutoyo, I bet you this is still a pretty pricey set new. You know, so I think I'm going to keep. More than likely, that's going to be a keeper. Next up, this is a 0 to 1 inch deep throat micrometer. It's the model 118-112. Although this actually says -2 inch. So it's funny, that says -2 inch. Maybe this case isn't the original case, I don't know. 0 to 1 inch deep throat micrometer, inspection use only. And what this is one of these kind of micrometers that lets you reach way in on something. I don't have any of these, I don't believe. And yeah, it does say 1 to 2 inch. Okay. So I don't know why this case says 0 to 1 inch. Oh, I'll tell you why it says 0 to 1 inch. Because this probably was a 1 to 2 inch. And it looks like what they did was they changed these points, the anvil and this, and turned this into a 0 to 1 inch mic. Okay, here's that plastic click stop knob that I was talking about. That's what I think is broken off of this one here. And then so this, he said this is off a couple of thousandths, but I haven't tried it yet, but I'm thinking it might be able to be recalibrated. Somebody removed the set screw out of here and didn't bother putting it back in, which makes me think somebody was already trying to recalibrate this. And also the little tiny hole here that the micrometer wrench would engage is a little gouged up, making me think that somebody was honking on that thing. So that's something that maybe at some later date I'll sit down and play with and see if I can't do something with that. And the last item tonight, this is another well, this one says ID micrometer. This is a 141-133 12 inch. This is another internal mic. Okay, works on the same principle as the last one I showed you, only this is much smaller. The rods are much smaller, so you would take a little set screw here. You would take this little rod out and you would stick one of these in. Okay, that's basically how that works. And he had said that I think he said that this was missing. I don't know if this was missing something or not. This is interesting. This is a little threaded. It's a little thread. I'm guessing this threads into here. This must be so you can reach down into a bore. So that's a neat little set. And that might be missing something. I don't remember what. But this little sleeve. Anyways, that's what that is. You know. At some point, I'll sit down. I'll go through all my inside mics and decide which ones to keep, which ones will go. I was also, I used to think about making a whole set of tools for my son Aiden, but Aiden is still too young to go to the Voctech school, but he wants to go, and I was thinking he was going to take what they call machine shop technology up there. I was hoping he would be interested in that, but he seems to be gravitating now more towards automotive. Right now his main fascination is RC cars, but he talks about having an interest in either automotive technology or even auto body technology. He likes watching the shows on the manufacturing of cars, and he also likes watching the shows of fixing up the classic cars. Matter of fact, he tells me that he wants to get a classic Camaro. So he's got good taste in cars. All right, guys. It was nice spending a little time this evening down here, and hopefully this video will be up before Christmas. It's very hard for me to find time to do editing with the new job. Been very busy. As a matter of fact, in 2 days I'm leaving for vacation, and we're going to be gone for a while. But I will already be back from vacation before you guys even see this video. Matter of fact, just in case, I should probably say Merry Christmas to everybody now in case this thing doesn't get uploaded soon enough. Take care. Good night. And don't forget to subscribe. We're getting there. I was looking at the subscriber numbers. They still keep just creeping up. So I think we're at somewhere around 4,300 subscribers. And of course, the next milestone in YouTube land is 5,000. So I was hoping I'd hit 5,000 by Christmas, but then with the new job and everything, I haven't been able to put enough video content up. So it's still climbing in subscribers, but it's slow. So, all right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Good night, everybody.